Ready to get started? Okay, so does anybody have a question to kick things off?
Ótimo.
Any hands?
Testing.
Somebody's got a question. I'll ask you a question, Roman. What are you most excited about for the back half of 2024, and why do you have so much passion behind that?
Okay, we have our bets on the table, as you might be able to tell from today. So clearly AI agents. So I think the big question, and that's something I think I learned a little bit today, is that I see a lot of people who are like by default a little bit skeptical about AI. And as we talk more about it, like I see people getting more engaged. And I think AI is a journey. That means like you decide to use it, and then you do a whole bunch of work to set it up, make sure it works well. Then you do a whole bunch of work to make sure it actually does a really good job with your customers. And so that's the thing I'm excited about. I think it's going to be a good challenge to see like how many of you we can help successfully use AI in the back half of the year for BFCM. And for us, it's a huge challenge. Like I think where is Kevin? We did that successfully with Glamnetic, feeling good there. So now the question is, are we able to do this with 5,000, 10,000 brands? And we're really excited for this challenge.
Just want to say you should be skeptical about AI.
Ótimo.
But you should also try it, because that's how technology moves forward. Remember in 2014, 15, it was all about chatbots, meta chatbots everywhere. Like it's going to be chatbots, and then nothing, and the technology wasn't there. I think it's just like the machine learning models were not there. Now we use ChatGPT every day. So it got a lot better. It needs to be integrated, and it's on us to prove to you that it actually works. We think we have a great product, and it's only gonna get better with time. So you should always try it and see. And if it doesn't work, wait a little bit and then try again. But that's how you improve, right? So yeah. But you should be skeptical. There's a lot of overselling. It's like people trying to find product market fit, and you should be careful.
Yeah, maybe not a fair question, because AI is going to be like a huge game changer. I'll stand up for you. But what's a pain point or like a value add feature that's not yet been released that's not related to AI? So non-AI related pain point or value add that's on the roadmap, but maybe we don't know about it yet. Non-AI.
Yeah. I'll give you a non-AI. You ask for it. You're a customer. You're almost always right. So I'll obviously go for it. And you're right in this case. So one thing we need to do is pivot tables in the stats. So I'll give you an example. Okay. Yeah. We know, and we need to do. We need to like hire more on the engineering team to like be able to deliver more on the statistics. So we know for sure. And I think it's going to unlock a lot of use cases. So you could have the contact reason, for example, like who are the people that are reporting a damaged item by SKU, for example. So that's something that I think that was Alex that was talking about, the fact that support is the blood of your business that feeds other organs. This way you can like get the pulse of the customer and pass it to the product team or other teams in the business. That's just one example. There's plenty of use cases. So yes, we know we need to do this. We want to do this as soon as possible. We just need to do a little bit of internal work before we get there.
Yeah. For me, it's not AI, but it's AI related. Is that okay? I'm a firm believer that the AI agents they're going to work. Eventually, they're going to work really well. We already see very good results there with a lot of you. So I'm not super worried about that. I think we'll figure it out collectively. And you will be able to get quite a bit of automation out of that, 30%, maybe more. But the problem is going to be what happens after. The more percentage points after that is incrementally harder to get. And then every change you make to get those percentages potentially will break something else, which you didn't think about, meaning that the system is going to get more and more complex with time, the more automation rate you're going to have. So that's okay. So what do you do with that? We believe that the solution to that is observing more, so still statistics. So observing what's happening with your support in a lot more detail. The large language models today are very capable of writing text. They're also very capable of reading text, a lot of it, and analyzing what's happening in the ticket. So we think the next step, evolution, is going to be towards automated quality assurance, which monitors both AI and people. And you can compare apples to apples and not make, oh yeah, my AI is better, it automates 60%, sure. I can automate 100% of your tickets, close all of them. CSAT is going to go down, like a millisecond response time, you know, it's like, but that's not the point. Point is quality, right? So it's like monitoring quality is going to be super important. It's a learning opportunity. You're going to have to adjust a lot of things. But the expectation is like, you're probably going to get very good results with low-hanging fruits very quickly. But then every other step of the way, like the higher you get on the automation, the harder it's going to be. So the more you will need statistics, observability, monitoring, like this type of stuff. That's going to be key. My expectation. That's what I would bet. Yeah.
Got one over here.
I think there's a question there.
Hey, I have a question around like CSAT scores and just like overall reviews. When it comes to the mix and the rise of AI agents, et cetera, do you see an evolution of how CSAT scores will also kind of develop? And like, what is that going to look like? And do you guys have a little bit of maybe insight into what it should look like? Is there going to be a blended approach? Is it going to be two different scores? And how are you going to add certain elements of empathy and stuff in CSAT scores and what you guys see there?
That's a nice question.
Yeah, I have a strong opinion on this one. I think CSAT is a terrible, outdated way of measuring quality. Sorry. You guys invited me to the stage, so yeah. I'm going to say it. And for the reasons, and basically it's like, I see sometimes ticket with 5 CSAT, and when I go in that ticket, it's like there's a discount code that has been sent to that person. And great, you got 5 stars, but like the business lost money. The customer is not necessarily happier either because they didn't receive a great service. So it kind of hides a lot. Also, if I'm a support agent and I do a great job, but the company return policy is 25 seconds after the order, then I did a good job, but the company policy is terrible. So it's like, what should the customer answer? So all I'm trying to say, it is a tool that is pretty much the only tool that we have today to have some amount, and also compare with other brands. And I think it's good for, let's say, when you have a lot of tickets, you can discover a lot of things. But also it hides a lot, and I think we have now the technology to do a lot better as an industry and adopt new metrics. And you asked about like what metrics we're thinking about. The first one, and I think the most obvious to you, would be, was the ticket resolved or not resolved? Yes or no? No, like 5 stars, not 5 stars, but just like resolutions, tracking resolutions. Meaning is like all the questions have been answered, right? Then you have the sentiment. Was the customer pissed? Not pissed, right? Like that's the again, like that's another one. So you have a bunch of. So I think to your question, will there be a blended metric? Will there be multiple metrics? Yes, to both. There will be a blended metric. We call it internally IQS, Interaction Quality Score. We're working on it, but we're working on the breakdown metrics. So resolution, sentiment, and there's going to be a bunch more, which I'm not going to talk about yet. But yeah, that's our, and basically it's like that plus other metrics, like for example, topics. What are the customers talking about? Like, are we talking about returns? Which SKU? Are they dissatisfied with that? Most of those tickets, are they resolved? Like this sort of analysis, that's what we should build. And then after that, like you will get your CSAT back, but in a different form. So because I mean the execs will always ask is like, what's your CSAT score? It's like, yeah, we'll have to do that eventually because people just want one number and like that they are attached to it. So I think we will have to do it. I don't think it's particularly valuable, but I would say to simplify things and to compare with different companies, I think it's going to be super useful. So yeah, long answer, but I have a lot of. I'm like I want CSAT to die, like that's my mission. That's my mission.
Okay, another question here.
Thank you. What capabilities within the Gorgias ecosystem are underutilized, and who are the members of the Gorgias team who are the unsung heroes behind that?
All right. I'll start with one. I think in 2018 we built the revenue statistics that show you like how much revenue is influenced by your agents. And so that was a little bit of the premise that we talked about today. AI is going to automate CX so that your agents can focus on selling. And Kayla, who was on the stage just before, like what they do is that they give $100 gift cards to the agents that sell the most. I think we have maybe like 5% of you guys that are using this type of approach. Judging by how many people went to the convert session in the morning, it sounds like there is definitely interest for driving more sales in CX. So I'm excited about this. So I would say that's one feature that doesn't have a ton of usage, but shows that there's clearly a use case here, and it's on us to make it more available to everybody in this room and make it enticing enough so that you do decide to adopt it. So yeah, check out Convert, and we'll do more there.
I would say rules. You know rules, and they are pretty much like a programming language. You can blame me for that. We had a debate at the beginning of the company. The rules, by the way, was the first feature we built in Gorgias, pretty much the first one. And yeah, I guess now we have flows. So, but I think it's still super powerful. You can do a lot of things. But I see a lot of, when I go into especially companies which are earlier, I see them being underutilized a lot, especially with social media mixes. So yeah, but I think those are like could be used a lot more, but they are harder to use. So it requires a little bit more effort to understand how they're functioning and all of that. But yeah, I would say that.
Yeah, maybe another one around the rules is that the rules are powerful. The challenge, like you need to put in the time to actually set them up. One thing that's cool about AI Agent is that we putting it to work not only to respond to customers, but also to like fill in, you know, like these ticket fields that you ask your team to fill, and they won't always do it. So we think AI Agent is going to do a good job and yeah, have a higher completion rate. So that's also something that you can take advantage of.
You got a follow up here?
Okay.
You can go first.
We haven't had this side yet. We need to make sure that an MC goes there.
I just had a question in regards to like for the AI agent, because privacy is a big issue nowadays, especially with AI models. Like, what is the privacy policy? Is it just all being shipped out to OpenAI and like here's all our customer data? And also like if it has access to the store, is that store access also just going out to OpenAI or XAI or whoever you guys are using as the AI model? And then like for the customers, like does it have an insurance being like anything communicated in here stays in here? Does like, you know, what's the privacies for the end user and for the businesses as well, so that our data isn't just going to whomever that we're unaware of?
I can do this one. So you can do a couple. So I think it's a valid concern because the concern is, I mean, you saw the Slack changing their policy recently, I believe. I don't know if you saw that, but pretty much meaning that we will train their models with some of our data. And I understand like the concern there. There's a couple ways to address this, but first of all, like I just want to say it's like we have a ton of vendors that we use. For example, like we use Datadog to do monitoring of our infrastructure. Like that's just one of the vendors. There's tons of them. Like running a modern CRM like ours requires a lot of different services, and OpenAI or anything else is just one of those services that sometimes contain sensitive data. So I just want to say First of all, it's like that. The concern primarily being if that data will be used to train models and breach the privacy and so forth. Some ways, first of all, like if you send let's say a chat or an email to Gorgias with your credit card number, we will obfuscate that data. So meaning like we will detect that it's credit card and then remove that. Sometimes people put phone numbers which look like credit cards or whatever, and then there's like, what happened? So there's false positives too. But the way to address it is like ideally you don't even send any PII, so personal identifiable information, to any of the vendors, and there's no problem then because you replace Alex with ABCD something, a code, and then when it gets back the result, it does that. So we're looking into that more, but yeah, that's one way to do it, but it's not always easy because filtering out every piece of information, because sometimes we have internal help center articles and we can't really control the content that goes in there because it's set up by the merchants themselves. So it's hard to, it's not an easy task to buy by any means, but I think we're very conscious of that. So, I mean, it's your data. It's your data, you use a service, our API is open, all the endpoints are open, you can access it. So we are very, we respect that. I mean, our business is based on trust. So it's like if you don't trust us with your data, that's pretty much like it's game over for us. So privacy, if we lose it, if we don't have backups, if there are security breaches, like all of that together, it's super important. So, one thing I want to say is like a lot of companies are figuring it out yet. It's new. So it's going to happen, but it's still new. Yeah.
Sorry, just more of like a personal mindset question. So do you believe, and I'm curious on what you guys think about this, ever since like Amazon marketplaces came about, right? The burden to deliver products quickly, right? D2C brands felt that, right? That now it's like 3 to 7 business days is like out of the question, right? It's like, how are you going to get closest to an Amazon style? I'm curious on impact of resolution time, right? And like instant resolution. You look at like DoorDash or Amazon, right? You say your order didn't deliver, instant refund, right? Like within seconds. Or with Amazon, product never arrived, instant reship or instant refund. What's this burden? What's this gonna? Do you believe it's gonna have a burden on D2C brands needing to have instant resolution soon or coming soon? And if so, how does that impact overall support and how we look at support down the line?
Great question. I think so. First off, there's an interesting book about customer support. There's not a lot of books on customer support, but there is one that's really great, which is called The Effortless Experience. And what this book talks about is the fact that it's less so about surprising and delighting the customers and more so about hitting the customer's expectations. And that's the beauty of Amazon is like, Amazon doesn't have the best design. I think we can probably all agree here, but they are really good at hitting customers' expectations. And they are so good that they set the customer's expectations. So your comparison with shipping is good. Like they are the ones that pushed like really fast shipping in North America to be like the new standard. And I spoke with some people at who run the support at Amazon actually, and they struck me as not having a heart, which was interesting. So they were like, "Hey, we respond really fast. We follow the process. The customer's happy. That's it." And I'll say 2 things. Number one is, I think that's the opportunity with AI agents. We can definitely do like Amazon-like really fast response and fixing the customer's problem almost instantly. We just need collectively to do a whole bunch of work to configure AI agent really well, and that's we clearly working on this on the Gorgias side, but that's not going to happen overnight, and that will require like a lot of time investment on your part. So I think collectively we can get there. It's going to take a few months, but I'm really excited about this. I think where we can beat Amazon is on the hard side, because we all stand for something. Like you guys started these businesses because you had an idea or because you wanted to change the status quo, and you were not just like, hey, we're going to run a very reliable business that always delivers on customers' expectations. No, you have like a brand story to share, and you're doing it. And so I think that's the challenge. Like as we hit the Amazon expectation, can we do even better by sharing the brand story, the brand tone? There was Tushi on stage that does a great job with like all types of jokes. So I think that's actually a territory where we can beat Amazon, like not only be as good as they are, but go even further. So I'll submit a ticket in 6 months on Obvi, and I expect to be wowed.
Hello. It's funny because I was going to ask Ron the same question because I heard Alex's hot take on CSAT and I wanted him to announce it to everybody. So thank you. But I would love to hear, Romain, your hot take on, or if you have a hot take on CSAT, because I'm sure we all experience this where it's like, we know that CSAT's really important for that foundation, but it only is, I think you said 15%. We try to get around 30% of people to use the CSAT, but then you're telling your managers, and we have a large team, so it's auditing our support is really important, just like everyone knows. But if we tell our managers, like, CSAT's the most important, and like if you could have an agent, like just like you're saying, that has a 5 CSAT by like almost luck, and I'm really excited for the QA of it and being able to say like this agent in particular is really good at keeping a customer for this issue, but this agent isn't. And like let's pair these agents together so they can like learn from each other. So what in your opinion is like the best KPI for that? Or I know I'm kind of like repeating Ron's question, but I kind of want to hear from Romain your experience or your take on CSAT.
Okay, I'm going to be less controversial than Alex, but it's still going to be interesting. I hope so. So I think I agree with Alex's take on like CSAT is the metric we use. Right now we're happy with it, but we can do better. I agree that auto QA is the next step. So has it been resolved? Is the customer happy? So we're going to build that, and hopefully you guys will like it. I think what goes beyond this is the whole customer journey. So back to the effortless experience, actually, that's a good one. So when you give a good experience to someone, you're like +1. When you give a negative experience to someone, you're like -4. So like, how is it that we get rid of the -4s? So auto QA is going to help us to see this. But I think what truly matters is that once the customer has had an experience with their brand, what happens from there? Like, do they live forever with a smile, or do they actually come back and buy again from your brand? Do they come back to the website? And what I'd like to do is to have some statistics that show, okay, if a customer has a conversation with Zoe, what happens is they are more likely to come back to the site. So this way, you guys, as CX managers, you can go to your own manager, or to the CEO of the business and say, hey, like the more people I speak with, the more likely you are to retain your customers. And I heard in your All-Ends presentation every 6 months that you want this CAC to LTV formula to be in a good spot. So I'm going to get your LTV to go up, because every time I can insert, whether that's an AI touch or human touch that's highly personalized, then LTV goes up because people come back. So I think right now we like very much indexing on the like support side of the conversations we're all having with customers. And I think we need, as we like master AI and start launching it more, we need to start indexing more on like, are people coming back? Are we able to sell? And then the conversation is going to be more about, are we able to like have these touches that then drive LTV, drive customers to come back? And so on DTC, on CX Connect 3 or maybe 2, like next year or the year after, what I'd love to talk about on this stage is like, hey, like we've built these statistics. We can show you what is the repeat from these conversations, that you guys can go to the business and say, this is how much revenue we are driving by providing a great experience. No question on this side? You're sure?
I can go on this side if you want. So I'm actually curious on both of your perspectives when it comes to personalized customer experience. What do you guys see as the future of that? Not when it comes to just, the help desk, but just, the website experience and just looking at it from a whole CX perspective. How does AI impact that? And how does Gorgias in the future continue to move in that direction?
I can start. So I talked about the Michael experience this morning, like speaking with the founder. And what I mean, what's cool about speaking with the founder is like the founder knows you and the founder wants to help you. And then Harley, interestingly, without having prepared this, had a very similar comment. It was like, hey, I remember when I went to the store, they knew I had like parachute pants, so they got me something very similar. So I think that's the experience we need to strive for is let's try to like feed the AI with all the context. And that AI can be on the website. So it's a bit like the Her movie from like 2014, when you like Her knows you like extremely well and helps you along the way. I think the website's going in this direction. So we're seeing this with search. What's going to be displayed on the website is going to be influenced by all the events, which means it's a data play. It means like the value is like we all have the same LLMs. The question is like how do you use your LLMs? How do you feed them with the right customer data, so that it feels like the LLM knows you and gives you the best possible experience you can have. So I think that's going to be on the website side. And then on the, I think what's really exciting for all of us in this room is maybe in 10 years we'll look back and we were like, hey, in 2024 there was this thing called AI. It was like changing the world. We were not so sure about like what would happen. But I think what's interesting is we all CX professionals, and CX is often something that's a little bit in the background. It's like, yes, we know it's important, but for some reason, like people don't talk about it all the time. And I think what's super interesting about our industry now is like we are in the forefront. Where is it that AI can do the best job? Where is it that AI can be fed with the best data? Like definitely CX. And so what's cool is like, even though we are like not in the spotlight right now, I think as we all converge towards using AI, then we're going to be like actually like getting this like first row at seeing what the future is going to be, and that's particularly exciting. And we were having lots of conversations around Convert of like, hey, I'm using Convert, and my marketing team sort of cares, and they're happy, but they're not truly blocking me, but they don't take it very seriously. And I think marketing right now is like a bunch of events and then a bunch of workflows. And what's missing in this is that people are not just a bunch of events. They're also like what they say, what they want, and they express this through conversations. So I'm super excited because I think everything we're doing in the CX world is going to translate really well to other parts of the customer journey. And I'm having lots of, I was fundraising 6 months ago, and I was having conversations with investors like, hey, you're a cost center. It's not good to be a cost center. You need to be a revenue driver. And I think this is one opportunity for all of us in this room to go from the cost center side to be driving revenue. So I think the whole experience is going to change. It's going to be more personalized, and that's going to empower all of us to do much better and empower all the brands to do much better. And so I hope we'll have a similar discussion next year or in 2 years to see how much progress we've made on this.
Any questions on this side?
Thank you.
Thank you.
So happy to help. That's my whole job. So kind of random, taking off of AI for us in particular in my company is we need phones. The age demographic of our customer is very dependent on wanting to talk on the phone. And I know that's one thing that you guys have the integration for. I don't use y'all's integration right now because I'm curious how you're gonna, I wanted to know kind of how it's growing and if that's in the roadmap at all.
You mean voice AI?
I mean,
phone
voice AI too. We can go into that.
Sorry, I didn't understand. Yeah, I mean, we improved phone quite a bit. We recently shipped call forwarding. That's one. We have the IVR escalation to SMS. So basically, if nobody can respond, the customer can opt in to go through an SMS channel instead. So there's quite a few things that are out. So if you checked it, and it wasn't good for you like a while ago, I would recommend going back and looking at it. It may be good. There are still some some features which are missing, like advanced IVR and the advanced like call routing. So for bigger teams, probably still would be better with bigger partners. But we see brands which have 20 or so agents using them quite well, and they are not churning and not complaining a lot. We're looking at every support ticket that's coming in. So seems it's good. People like it. Of course, I'm not going to oversell it. It's still not. It's not going to be as developed as a fully dedicated solution, and we have partners for that, right? So Aircall is one. There's a bunch of them. Yeah, but we are continuing to improve it. And for example, like IVR, press 1 to go to this, press 2 to go, like that. That's just like that should disappear. It should be like, what's your hello? I'm
a second victim from Alex.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing. Like that. I mean, it's just like nobody has time to listen to 10 options. Like, come on, and then go through the tree. Like, just tell me what the problem is, and I'll route you to the correct team and escalate, or even answer your question. So that's how the experience should be. But as you know, we are releasing in July 1st like the email automation. So that's text-based. Next is chat. After that, like there's going to be other channels, most likely social. And then after that, we'll get to voice. But voice is harder because you need like real time, and it's I guess like it's more expensive. There's like a lot more details there, but you need to be able to interrupt. So it's but it's coming. We will do that too. Yeah.
Yeah. One last thing is on phone. I think it's right now like phone is like you said, like it's like older demographics. I think phone is about to get sexy again because once we have like phone AI, like people are gonna want to speak to like.
We're getting older too.
What?
We're also getting older.
And we we like old millennials now. So I think people are gonna want to use phone again. Like I'm using like ChatGPT, like the new voice thing they have. I tried it with my kids, worked really well. Like they love the stories it tells. So I think they are like Gen Alpha. So I think Gen Alpha is gonna be on phone. So yeah, I think phone's gonna get a broader share in the future. Cool.
Okay, we have time for one more question.
Yeah, that's cool.
You guys
Thanks.
are on
Another
fire.
one
Like
front
this
over
row
here.
is like so
That's
engaged.
okay.
I love it.
Well, more broadly, I wanted to get your take on the current e-commerce platform ecosystem out there. I mean, granted, you guys are a strong partner with Shopify. I do remember a time when Magento was kind of dominating too. So where do you see that playing out in the future, and does it even matter?
Okay, I can take this one. So we ventured in Magento and BigCommerce, and we have some customers on these two platforms. I think what's happening is that there's a winner-takes-all approach, at least in the SMB. Like Shopify is taking the whole market. And what they did that's really smart is they're very focused on product. And at the end of the day, like product is what wins. So I think they've done a good job there. They work really well with their partners. Like Harley was saying, we're going to spend some time with them next week and a whole bunch of other partners to like keep building for the ecosystem. So I think they've pretty much won for like the next 5 years. Then there may be new contenders out there. So I think it does matter because on our side at Gorgias, what I was saying at the beginning of the keynote, like we truly spend a lot of time to configure Gorgias accounts to make sure that you guys have the functionality that you want. And what we find is like when there are great APIs, we can do a lot for you guys. And that's how we started Gorgias. Like at first we would serve everybody, and then we decided to serve like folks on Shopify because the API was great and we felt like there was more value here. So I think it absolutely matters. Like the e-commerce platform that have a great API helps all of us have a better experience. So I'm really happy that Shopify is doing a good job over here. I think then in terms of trends, what's going on in the market is that our friend Harley is working on getting some of the biggest brands over to Shopify, which is really exciting because that means they're going to have to build stuff to get them. That's going to benefit all of us in this room. So I think it is great. The thing I'm super curious to talk about more, maybe in like 3-4 years, is we heard a lot of people on the panels that are focused on retail. So I think they sell at Target, like CVS, all that. And we all like pretty much DTC, like digitally native. And we have a bit of brick and mortar, like for example, like Glossier, like you guys have like 10 physical stores, but we haven't like truly bridged the gap between online and offline. I think we're just getting started. So I think that's probably the next task that I'm curiously watching Shopify achieve. And if they can do a good job here, I think that'd be super interesting to think about like the holistic customer experience. I think someone on the panel was also talking about this. So yeah, some good stuff to come there.
There's TikTok Shop catching up as well. Interesting. Interesting to observe that. I heard some stories.
Next AMA.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Any closing remarks before we let you off stage here?
So I had prepped some closing remarks, but I distilled them through the AMA. So I think you heard some of them. One thing I want to call out is I'm very pleasantly surprised to see the adoption, the level of curiosity for both AI and convert, like driving more revenue. When I was preparing for this keynote, I was like, hey, are people going to care? And it was pretty interesting to see that. I think at first, everyone's a bit skeptical. Like, is it actually going to work for my business? Yes, no, let's find out. And it's awesome to see like how curious everyone is, and that everyone is willing to give a shot to like this, what we think is the new version of our job in CX. So thanks a lot for this like really great attitude, I think, to like be curious about what's next, and let's try to build this future together. That's one point. And then the other one is, it was pretty interesting to see that the most packed of the session was the convert session. So we hear you with Alex, like you guys want to drive revenue, and we're going to help you drive more revenue. So we heard you loud and clear. The customer is always right. We'll keep pushing in this direction.
Yeah, thanks all for coming. And yeah, for me, this entire week, I would say, it's like sometimes I have these ideas, controversial ones, and I need to validate it to make sure that they are based in reality. And 80% they are based in reality, which is great. And so I think I have a path. And on my side, I'll need to get back to work and build all of these amazing features for you. And it's super great to hang out. It's like always gives me a lot of energy. Like, I'm in engineering, so like the whole day is about bugs and stuff not working, and it's like scaling and all sorts of stuff. So hanging out with customers, people who use the software, and that's like really, really motivates me personally, and really appreciate it. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Roman and Alex. Really appreciate it.